Three, two, one. There we go.
Awesome. Welcome to a special Friday night edition of Metalheads Unite with our special guest from across the pond, you might say, from down
Way
under.
across the pond. Yeah, way across
way
the
down
pond.
under too. So from Adelaide, South Australia, hidden in tent, which they are actually in Perth, right? That's where you guys are at now. Uh-oh.
Uh,
Did we
oh, we got
freeze up?
got a little bit of a signal lag, maybe.
I don't know.
Gentlemen, you still there?
We're on tour in Perth. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
now.
okay, gotcha.
There we go. Yep. All right.
a little lag there.
Yeah, a little bit of a lag.
All right, we're all good.
That's understandable. So
yeah, it's only 15-hour difference, man.
Yeah,
maybe
so,
it was working fine before.
So what's the future? What's the future like?
Yeah, right. Yeah, what's the future? It's pretty wild. So yeah, it's actually Saturday morning there. So
it's really weird.
So the guys from Hidden Intent actually had a show last night. So we appreciate them actually taking the time to jump on with us this morning to talk
to us
a little bit. So we actually met you guys at the Angeles Apatrida tour up in Knoxville. So we hung out and talked to you guys for a little while. I thought it was pretty cool. Honestly, I'd never heard of you guys until then, and then I smacked. This is one of those bands like we talk about. Like we smack ourselves for not knowing. So, there's a lot of bands we've come across that we just kind of kick ourselves for not knowing that they exist. So. But definitely glad to find about Hidden Intent because I'm definitely a big fan now. So
oh god, yeah, I listened to all three albums just this week, and just to go back as a refresher for the show this week. So definitely. Well, and I had time too because we had the drive on up here to Michigan, so I had time to catch up on a little bit of music so we could brush up. But yeah. For those of you guys that don't remember, we've talked about how we went up to Knoxville, which is about 3.5, maybe 4 hours by car from where we live in Tennessee. So we got introduced to these gentlemen here on the Angeles Apatrida show. They were on the bill. With them, so we got to meet these guys and we got to hang out with them after the show. So that was very nice, and it was also nice of them to hop on the show here with us, especially all the way down there where they're at. They are currently on tour in Australia right now, so it was very nice of them to take the time out to do that.
So how much longer is the tour there that you currently are on?
Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, it's lagging a little bit. So, so I was asking, say, how long is the tour going on there? How much longer do you guys have on that?
Is this pretty much like the end of it? Because we've been doing our 10-year anniversary tour, but Australia is not like America. It's because everything's so far apart. So it's sort of like we've done Sydney, we've done Brisbane, we've done Melbourne over the course of the year, not all in a row, sort of, if that makes sense. So we did 3 shows up in Queensland right before we went to the US.
That was a smart idea.
Yeah. And then
let's be away from our family even more.
And then about 3 weeks after we got back, we did 3 shows with Heathen.
Nice.
Yes. That was awesome. We saw that. Wish that was something that we could have experienced over here, because Jason and I are big Heathen fans. So I was excited for you guys when I saw that you guys were going to be playing out there with Heathen. So
we had such a good time, man.
Yeah.
It was a really good tour, and the shows were just killer. Yeah, rowdy crowds and that, packed out houses. It was good.
It just worked really well on the bill, them being like a Bay Area thrash band and us being a new school kind of thrash band. It just worked. Yeah, us being Australian and then doing the Australian tour with them. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, they were really cool guys. We're hoping to do some more stuff with them in the future if it lines up. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, because I saw it because obviously ever since meeting up with you guys in Knoxville, like this stuff, I follow you on the socials. I know Jason follows you on the socials, and then now that as far as the show goes, we're following you guys on Instagram and and everything with our show accounts too. So we've been keeping up with the happenings and all of your guys' travels on the good stuff. We've seen the crowds and everything that you guys are pulling in now that you guys are back home and all that stuff. Kind of tell us about the experience you guys had when you came over here, as far as just the whole tour in North America altogether. Because I remember we were that we were talking to Paul at the end of the show, and he was telling us that there was a little bit of difficulty. There was some booking issues, and there were some speed bumps on the tour when you guys were here. So kind of tell us about
it. We're usually pretty prepared for it. We've done a lot of touring. We've done both ends of the spectrum where we just go somewhere ourselves, so we go somewhere ourselves. We line up local bands or promoters or whatever where we're going and try to get as many shows as possible, do that, drive ourselves around in a hire car, come home. And then we've done the opposite of that with Angelus, and like we've done it in Europe as well with Lich King, where it's like, yeah, guys, get on the bus and go tour sort of thing. So we've done opposite ends of the spectrum, and we're sort of used to, getting thrown in the deep end, sort of, so to speak. And, sometimes you might get left high and dry with a cancelled flight or no hotel to stay in or something like that. And but yeah, on this US tour, there was a lot of like, you've got a bus, you've got this, you've got that, everything's taken care of, so to speak. But then we had problems with there's nowhere to stay, or this promoter's cancelled this gig or whatever, as well. So it was kind of like a little bit like, I don't know, surprising, I guess, because we weren't expecting it. And, Chris had to put his manager hat on and get on his laptop and start getting in contact with promoters and venues and bands and stuff, just to sort of like, because it's easy to throw the towel in and go, oh, whatever, like we're not going to play tonight, or we're just going to sleep in the van or whatever. But when you're on the other side of the planet, it's kind of like, well, we're all here, we may as well try and make this work. So that's kind of like our experience with it, I guess. Was the tour overall was pretty good, but I think how can I put this? Some people could have done their job a little better.
I was just about to say, it seemed like if I'm promoting you guys and something happens where like a place that I had you guys booked they cancel on us, then I feel like that's my job to go out and find somewhere else for you guys to play. You know what I mean? So, you guys are paying. Because you guys are paying me to do that. So, I see exactly where you're coming from. So,
in all aspects of life, sorry, it took me a bit to get out. In all aspects of life, people do the right thing, and people don't do the right thing. So 100%. If I was in the same position, I'd be like, well, I'm the promoter, or I'm the driver, or I'm the guy from this band or whatever. It's my responsibility to fix this. But then unfortunately you get the situations where people just go, oh, well, too hard. Sorry, guys.
It was very clear that this tour was the bottom of the importance scale of other tours that this guy had. Like, he was like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. So, and this tour is like here to me. So I'm just going to kind of, do the bare minimum and just kind of like do the like, the events on Facebook and do little, I call them little micro step things, and then everything else kind of just blur. Like,
you're on your own sort of thing.
Get in a bus and hope for the best kind of vibe. And it was just, some shows were good still. Like, you could tell which shows had a good, strong local promoter and put on support band. That was the other thing. I think the most frustrating thing for me, personally, from my point of view, was being the local, being the first band playing on the night, like being all the way from Australia and being the first band playing on a night in the States just didn't make any sense to me at all. Like, whereas with the show we did that we met you guys at was great because it was okay, but at least there were some local bands before us,
right?
Bringing some of their mates, and that, even for me, I was just like, every time I walk in and see a local band, I'll be like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a basic logistic thing. Like, if you bring an American band down to Australia, it's like most people aren't going to be like, oh, I'm going to go out and see this band from America. Wow. It's just like, I've never heard of those guys. You need local bands to get people to the show and promote it and share their stuff on social media, so they, the local people learn a little bit more about who they are and that kind of thing. So
I think that was the first thing that me and Chris talked about, was like, how the hell does a band from Spain and a band from Australia, and then where was the other band from?
The death metal band, they were from Brazil.
Yeah, so I was just like, how does that happen? I was like,
I was
pretty wild.
Yeah, I was curious. I was curious about that.
We're just gonna pick from each corner here.
We got a Full Terror Assault. That was what I like to call the anchor of the tour. And then that was our main reason for going over there, was to play Full Terror Assault, because we were supposed to play it last year, but then because of COVID, we weren't able to get over there. Right. So then we got an opportunity to play it again this year, and then I said to the guys, all right, looks like the States. We're actually supposed to do Europe originally with Onslaught. But then
my God, are you kidding me right now?
Like one of my favorite bands.
Ours too.
Yeah, we were really disappointed about that because it fell through, and we were just like, oh man, and the band was just we were so itching just to get overseas again. We just didn't care where it was. And then the US, the Full Terror Assault slot opened up, and we got that. And then our friends in Lich King, the drummer, organizes a festival called RPM Fest. It's actually this one here. And it's in Massachusetts, and he gave us a slot on that. So we kind of had the two festivals. And then I just sort of looked who was playing Full Terror. So I saw that Angelus got on the bill. So I just emailed him and hit him up, and Gilly was like, yeah, you guys could join us. Yeah, no problem at all. And then before you know it, I got in contact with Tone Deaf Touring, and then I saw that Novo Chaos had been added as well. So it was basically like an international package. But it looked really good on the front. Like, you look at it and go, yeah, let's do it. It looks sick, But then when they're in reality, you really need to have at least one American headliner. I think that's probably...
Or at least for some of the shows, like, it probably wouldn't have mattered if it was different headliners, across the course of the tour. It's like, you're going to do 5 shows with these guys, or 8, and then 8 shows with these guys, or whatever. That would have worked too. Yeah. Just having a headliner. So a local, American headliner. But we got so kicked in the nuts on this tour that it was like, because Paul and I went over early, and we were just going to do some touristy stuff. Like, we had a couple of days in LA, and then we drove over to Las Vegas just as like a holiday sort of thing. And we're chilling in LA, and we get a message from Chris. He's like, I can't get on my flight because somebody broke into my car and stole all my stuff. And they stole my bag. My passport was in my bag. So now I've got a flight to that. Was it the same day or the next day? I can't board it because I've got no passport. And it just kept rolling. Like,
we just had a lot of, honestly, it was just like bad juju, like some voodoo curse, I swear. We just had a lot of things just went wrong for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because we've had so much good luck up until then. I don't know.
We'd sent stuff over to our mate's house, like boxes of merch, and that it didn't arrive. I bought a guitar and some parts of the guitar. There was parts missing.
Oh shit!
I was like, shit. It was like running around guitar centers trying to find guitar picks that I like, guitar bits, and And then like we had a loan van, and right before we were going to give it back, I like accidentally backed it into someone's car. And we're just like, oh my God, when is this going to stop? You know? But once we were rolling, it was okay, you know, but far out. It felt like got to the point a few times where it's just like, man, let's just throw in the towel and go home.
But yeah, even the passport, I got a new passport in 24 hours. And I tell people this story and they're like, how did you get a new passport?
That's I would be interested to know that too.
I just got up to the passport office and I was just like, I need a new passport. And they're like, yeah, fill out this form. I paid the highest like fee you can pay, the rush fee, to get it done quicker. And it was 2 business days. And at this point, it was the end of the week. And then I got back in there the next day and they're like, nah, you're going to get it on Monday. And I'm like, no, I can't wait till Monday. I've got to play gig Sunday. Like, this is it. And then they were like, well, what's your reason for going over there? Is it medical? And I'm like, no, it's not medical. I'm doing a performance. Can you like rush it through? And so they said, I'll email this email address and give us all the details of the performance, and we might be able to rush it for you. They'll do it for like sportsmen and like entertainers. Okay, so I emailed it to Ruck. I thought of every little screenshot of like contracts and Instagram tiles and everything I could think of to like get it through. And I spent the whole day sitting there. And a friend of mine just said, if you sit there the whole day and just keep hammering them, they'll eventually cough it up. I literally just did that the whole day. I'm like, hey, going, how's my passport going? What's the status of it? How are we doing? I call up the main office while I'm on the line as well. And they're like, your passport's through like exponentially fast. It's moving up the queue. Some people that have paid your fee have been waiting like 2 weeks. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
And that really made me nervous. So I was like, oh, what if I don't get it for like 2 weeks? And I can't ask to join you guys like halfway through the tour.
Miss half the tour.
And then I'm like, what's even the point? You know, they're all waiting for me over there. They went early. I didn't go early. So they all went over and did, you know, Vegas and stuff. So eventually at the end of the day, they were like, oh, yeah, Chris, here's your passport, ready to go. I was just like, and I had to book a flight to get over there. Luckily, I had some credits still with that. And got into Boston. Yeah, I did Adelaide to Melbourne, Melbourne to Fiji, Fiji to LA to Boston. Got into Boston. 7 a.m. These guys picked me up.
We had to drive like 2 and a bit hours.
I was supposed to get there like earlier, so I could like got there, and then we had to pick up some equipment, drum equipment, and then we went straight to the festival and played at 2:30. I had a brand new bass still in its packaging. I was like on stage peeling off the plastic. Peeling it off. I'm like trying to get out of the
Talk about a live unveiling.
I didn't even remember the gig. I didn't even remember the gig. It was like just such a
and I got COVID like before, like about a couple of weeks before the tour, so I was still recovering from that vocally a little bit. And then the other bad luck we had was Phil halfway through the tour got COVID.
I got COVID while I was there.
So then we missed 3 shows, and then the show we missed was the one with Heathen and Warbringer. And I was like,
oh my God, man, you got man.
Yeah. There were 2 shows on the same night in Portland, guys, and it was like Angela Sapatrita and Novo Chaos were playing the same night as Warbringer and Heathen.
Jesus Christ.
And then I put on my tour manager hat and I called the promoter, who was the promoter for both gigs. Go figure. And I said, mate, is there any way of combining this together? And he got really offended. He's like, I can't believe you're ringing me. Like, all these people are ringing me, you know. And I'm like, look, I'm not trying to offend you. We just want a good show. And I just think if you have stylistically 2 shows on the same night, I don't know about you, but back home, that doesn't work. And eventually on the night of the gig, at first he was like, nah, it's not happening. And then on the night of the show, the singer of Warbringer called me and was like, John Keeble, and he's like, oh, can we use your back line? Like, we got to the venue and the promoter kicked us out and said, go to your show. And I'm like, what? I'm getting a call from John from Warbringer, one of my favorite thrash bands. And then we're like, I must have to
us too.
And then we got the show over the line, but we combined both lineups together and we would have played if we were around. So
I mean, if you're promoting both shows, I mean, it would benefit you to combine it. I mean, that would be just stupid, man.
Yeah, you realize that on the night.
You figure it would have been less legwork for him to be like, let's just make this whole thing one bill, and it'll just go off like gangbusters.
Some other show, the other venue, like a jazz thing or something. I don't know.
Smooth jazz.
And I'll be honest with you, man. I'd pay $100 to see that. I ain't even lying. Yes. I'd pay $100 to see all those bands.
It showed. It was a small venue, and it was packed, like all the way to the back. I could barely move, and it was cool. I mean, I was still there trying to help out while my other guys weren't in ISO, but I just, I was there trying to sell our merch still and just sort of just be around. And people were so nice. And the merch guy for Warbringer gave me a free shirt, heard about our situation, and he bought one of our tour shirts.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm so happy about that, man. He gave me a shirt and bought one of ours. I'm like, nah, it's cool. We can trade. And he was like, no, I'm paying. Like, you guys are missing out on this show. Like, he was real adamant about it. So
what's so crazy is like, you guys or those guys will probably not use that promoter again because it's shit like that, and then, it's
I sure as hell hope not.
I hope not too.
Yeah. I mean, so over the years we've learned, who we can trust and who we can't, and who's good and who isn't. So it's just part of the business, I think, and like, going into new territory. It's like we'd done the US before, but again, going into new territory and experiencing different people and different promoters and different venues and all different bands and all that kind of thing. It's always sort of you got to take out of it what you can.
And what we did get out of that though, and I knew this when we were over there, is a great relationship with Angela Sapatrita. We got along with them like a house on fire. Just me and Gilly, I
could tell.
Yeah,
I could actually tell because,
and I think there was a few factors in that. One is that both bands love drinking heaps of beer. That normally helps. The other thing was that the other band had their own van, Novo Chaos, and they did their own thing. Whereas like we shared with Angela, so we were just talking to them, laughing with them, drinking beers at like gas stations, and just having a really great time. And then what's going to come out of that is what's looking like is a bit of a tour trade scenario where I'll book them Australia, and then Hidden Intent potentially might join them on that run, and then they want to do some Asian shows as well on the way down. Kind of like what we did with Lich King, our friends from Massachusetts, and then they'll probably give us Europe. So I would say, every black card has a silver lining.
There you go.
Relationship with Angelus, and they're going to be like forever friends of ours. So for me, that tour was a networking tour. That's what I look at it as.
Yeah. Well,
you can't look on that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny you mentioned the networking because, like, the show that we went, because Chris, I remember talking to you after the show. We were standing by the merch tent, and I was telling you that Jason and I were actually supposed to come see the show at the beginning of the tour because we only live about 45 minutes south of Nashville. But the day that the tour, because the Nashville date was the first date on the tour, and we were like, well, we got to go to this damn thing. So, but what happened is he went to Blue Ridge, so he was out of town, and then I've got family up in Michigan, so I was out of town. So, I remember telling you that we were supposed to come see the Nashville show, but we were both out of town. And I remember when I told you that, your eyes got real big. But thanks.
We could have used that.
But thankfully when we were looking at the itinerary all together, because you guys started in Nashville, then you were in Memphis earlier in the tour, and then when you guys it was the date before last because you guys ended up in South Carolina at the end. But when he told me, he's like, hey, they're going to be in Knoxville on September 30th, and that was a Friday night. We're like, well, shit, road trip, let's go. So, and then I don't know if you guys probably remember the venue, but I mean, venues and faces and all that stuff, I'm sure it all runs together after a while, understandably.
What was the name? Because it was near the end of the tour in Knoxville. What was the name of the venue?
It was the Brickyard Bar and Grill. It was in that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was in
That
that.
one
It was in. Yeah, it was in that
is
little. Yeah,
Like
it was
strip
in that.
mall. It was like weird.
Yeah, it was in that
Yes.
little strip mall, and so it was funny because thanks to us having this show that we do, we've actually met bands, and got to do a little bit of networking. But the funny thing is like that venue was so small, and Jason and I, we were actually both disappointed in the size of the crowd that you guys got to play for there. But what in the long run, it was kind of like like you said, it was like a silver lining for us because we got to talk to you guys, we got to talk to Offensive, we got to talk to Guillermo, and because I've reached out to Guillermo's management like twice to no avail. And so when we got to talk to him, I told him the issues we were having and get in contact with him. And he gave me another contact to use. And I've actually been talking to that contact back and forth. Cause right now they're going around Spain and everything else. So
yeah, they just emailed us before and we sent him a happy birthday video and he said, thank you for the happy birthday video.
Yeah. So it was cool. Cause it actually, on one hand, Jason and I were both, there's no way that these bands should have had to play to that size crowd. Cause the way we looked at it, there was 40 people in that place. If there was that many, and that was including you guys on stage. So we were like that crowd was, I mean, don't get me wrong. The crowd, we were all pretty energetic for the ones that were there, but we were like 3 dozen people. The quality of the bands that were there were like 3 dozen people. So we were disappointed in the turnout for you guys, but the cool thing about it is we actually got to do our own networking. We met 3 of the 5 bands because we got stuck in traffic on the way out. So we actually weren't able to catch the local starter or the local opener rather, but we caught the rest. We showed up right before Offensive played, and then we got to watch the rest of the show. So between Jason and I, we got to talk to 3 or 4 bands, and like you guys are on the show now. Offensive wants to come on the show at some point when their schedule permits. I'm pretty sure that we can get Angelus to come on the show when they're not busy. So I mean, the small crowd ended up sucking. And then like when I was talking to Phil was the one who was telling us about, or I mean, I'm sorry, Paul. Paul was telling us about the issues you guys were just recapped for us on the tour and everything. And it kind of, when he was telling us about that, it was like, well, that kind of makes sense because there's only like 40 people here. And it's disappointing because he did say that you guys had been to the United States before. Because my concern was that this was your guys' first time in America, and these are the crowds you guys had to play for. So I was like, this doesn't leave a good first impression if this is their first time here. So it was a little bit of a relief when he said that it wasn't your guys' first time here. So I felt a little bit better about it, but still I was like, this was kind of like a joke of a turnout. But then when he was like, yeah, the promoter sucked, I was like, well, there you go. That explains it. So
yeah.
And I mean, like you just said, those shows are still important for things like that, for networking or whatever. And
yeah,
fans
we've also always been of the opinion that like we would rather play to 5 people and sell 1 shirt than that's better than doing nothing.
That is true. That's true.
So again, like when you're on the other side of the planet, it's like, well, we're here and we can make friends with other bands and network with people like you guys and other venues and promoters, and hopefully gain some new fans and sell a bit of merch. And if it's a crappy turnout, then yeah, that sucks. But we still managed to have some fun and hopefully sell a couple of shirts and CDs, and those people will remember next time we come back. So it's still, I think it's still a very valuable thing to do. Just slug it out and just make the most of a situation.
Yeah, Lich King, the band, they really they taught us that on the first US tour we did with them. Back in 2017. Yeah,
2017. Yeah, and
that was cool.
When they were coming down to Australia, they're like, "What do you mean we're not playing every night?" And it's like, "Well, you can't, man. It's impossible. The cities are too far apart, and there's not enough of them."
Yeah,
they're like, "Man, we'll do a house party." you know,
because you think
like
about
anything.
it, you go to a venue, right? You get fed and you get some drinks. You know, you're at least getting a little bit of hospitality. Not all the time, but you know, majority of the time. So if you have a day off, you're spending money on dinner. You're spending money on drinks. Like it's actually, even if it's a small crowd and they buy a little bit of merch, that's actually more beneficial. And if it's if it's on the way, the way you're going, that was the problem with this tour. Was the routing was just like a zigzag. But it was the first US tour. It was like Lich King had it sussed. That was through Tone Deaf as well, but a different staff member that maybe gave a bit more, put more thought into it. But yeah, it was perfectly routed. It was a perfect loop, and we did 5 shows with Ex Mortis. Another.
Yeah.
And those shows were killer because they're from Cali, and all the shows were. So it was just like, I wouldn't say the last tour, but the one before was that much better, but it was just maybe a little bit more organized, and it had local bands, and it had just a bit more effort was put in overall. So that's just our experience. And we got on Full Terror Assault the first time. I like this story too. We applied for it too late, and it was going to be a day off for us and a playing day for Lich King. So we were like, okay, we didn't get the slot, whatever. And I go there. We watched Lich King play, and I had a bloody Hawaiian shirt on because that was the thing with Lich King. They just love wearing Hawaiian shirts. And we're drinking away, and I meet the staff member from Full Terror Assault, and she comes up. We pulled what we call a Black Sabbath. So she came up and she goes, "Oh yeah, you guys are Hidden Intent. Thanks for coming out, even though you're not playing." We're like, "Yeah, just a day off for us. We just thanks for giving us the guest passes. We're really just being really appreciative."
Yeah, sure.
And she, where's your equipment? I said, "Oh, in that van right there." I pointed where it was. If you've been to Full Terror Assault, you can just pull your van up, your BYO, your drinks in, as long as it's in a cup. It's all good, kind of thing. And I'm like, "Oh, do you want some of this rum?" You know, we're just, drinking and partying. And then she gets a phone call, and she goes, "Oh, just wait here for a second. I've just got to take this call. It's really important, but I want to keep talking." I'm like, "Yeah, cool." So I'm like watching Lich King, and then they finish their set, and she comes up to me and she goes, "Oh, a band just pulled out of Houston. They're from Houston. They pulled out tomorrow."
Because all of that flooding was happening in Houston at that time, and they couldn't make it.
Yeah, the weather was really bad, and their flight got cancelled, and so they said, she goes, "Oh, there's a slot available for you if you want it. It's right before Havoc."
Oh God!
And we were just like,
that's another band that we.
I felt a little bit like
no pressure or anything.
Yeah, the end scene in Dumb and Dumber where the guy's like, "Oh, actually, the town is."
Right.
I was like, "No, I can't stuff this up." Yes.
Yeah. He comes up to me. He's like, "Oh man, I got us a slot tomorrow. I got us a slot tomorrow at 2:30, right before Havoc." And I was like,
he laughed at me.
I'm like, "No,
away.
You didn't, bro. Don't do it." Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, I did, man." I'm like, "No, you didn't, man." I'm like, "It's not funny."
And then it was happening like that day. Crowbar headlined that stage, so it was Crowbar, Toxic Holocaust, Havoc, and then us before Havoc. Jeez. So we start warming up on stage, and he's like, "Oh, it's happening now, man." Now, but he's like, I need that, the Crown Royal. Give me the Crown Royal.
Because I just got that bottle of Crown Royal on the way to Full Terror, and because we don't have it down here. So that was like the first time I was like, "Fuck, man, Crown Royal,"
Yeah. Hard to get in Australia.
Wow, that's good. Well, now it'll get you guys for Christmas. So
there you go. Yeah.
Oh, big. The shipping will be more than what the bottles were.
That is true. Yeah,
and import taxes probably.
Yeah,
I was actually gonna say that. Yeah, the import taxes would be a bitch too.
So in other words, we just have to visit Australia and bring it with us. That's what we're going to do. So
that's what we
pack it in the suitcase.
Come stay at my house. I'll make really strong coffee and great food. So it's
cool.
There you go. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. All right. So I wanted to ask you guys a question now. On the newest album, obviously it came out in 2021, but I want to know what "get a dog up ya" means. Because I mean, I'm just a Yank, so I don't know. So I want to know what it means.
It's just like an Australian saying for like, sculling a beer, like downing a beer.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All right.
Get a beer in you.
Yeah, like cheers, mate. Get a dog up here.
Okay. So kind of like Get Ya Pull from Dimebag.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
pretty much the similar vibe. We our drummer Paulie, he's the only one actually in the band from a country town. And he said it. He started saying it, and we were in Japan, I think. And the promoter, we played Truth. It was a great festival actually, True Thrash Fest, and we played with the Iron Angel, and we told the promoter, we said, it's because they say cheers in their own language, and I forget what that is. What is Japanese?
In Japanese, I can't remember now.
What is it again? I can't remember. I can't remember. Anyway, then we were like, ours is get a dog up, and then just hearing them try and say it in their accent, so good. But yeah, it's become our band slogan. Like we say it on stage. And we just thought we'd better write a song about it too. So it's all about drinking and partying. And then we did the clip for it. The fans actually voted for that song to have a clip for it. So
nice.
In the Facebook group, they all wanted that one to be the clip for the song, and we did it. And it was I don't know if you've seen the clip for it. It's pretty loose. So yeah.
so. I want to go back, since we're talking about the albums real quick. I want to go back to the first one, Walking Through Hell from 2013.
Yeah.
So the intro to that, the confession. So is that actually one of you guys doing the confession, or?
No, it's American Psycho. So the whole the whole band name.
That's where it's from.
Yeah, I kept saying, I thought I knew it too.
I heard it before. Damn it.
Yeah, it's all based on American Psycho.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, that theme has changed and gone a lot more Australiana on the last album. It's gone a lot more about Australian themes, bushfires, get a dog up here, that kind of thing. And then the second album with the Drop Bear thing, but. The first album is very much a focus on the American Psycho book and movie. So that's why you got that.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
For the life of me, I couldn't place that.
I will say it was very easy to promote tonight's show, especially with Facebook and stuff. You can add the music to your stories and everything. So of course, you guys have a song called Friday Night Thrash, so it kind of just fit right in. So I was like, man, this is perfect.
Yeah, when me and Chris wrote pretty much like all of Walking Through Hell, just like on my laptop. And the funny thing about it is we'd been slugging it out in bands seriously and kind of really not gotten anywhere for years. And when we started Hidden Intent, I was kind of like, yeah, thrash metal, man, whatever. Like, yeah, that sounds like fun. We'll do one gig every 6 months. Cool. So we were just writing this album, and I was kind of just like, I just want to have fun with it. I've never had any ambition to like do this touring or take it to where it's gotten to. And we'd write these songs on my laptop and give them funny names. So it was just like, we need a working title for the song. It was just like, cheese and pepperoni pizza thrash and cheeseburger thrash and stuff like that. And then Chris came over on Good Friday and we wrote this song, and I was like, Good Friday Thrash. And that just became the title of the song. Because we wrote it on Good Friday, but then we ended up over in Southeast Asia. And I remember like after the show, people were like playing the album in their car, like driving out of the car park after the gig. And I was like, fuck, man, I'm in another country and people are like listening to our album and stuff. I'm like, maybe I should have taken this a little bit more seriously. But I think we definitely started to find our sort of, we started to find what we're really good at, on the second album and the third album. So
I think
you listen Through Hell and you listen to Dead End Destiny, and they're like almost two completely different bands. Like vocally, I've changed a lot, and when I first started, I wanted to be this 80s thrash metal singer. Like, you know, Annihilator, that sort of stuff.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I'm going to do all these high vocals in really spots that don't make any sense. And then, just that's why the first album is kind of a little bit looser, I guess. But then I kind of found, for all the touring that you do and you're playing every night, you work out what you're good at and what you're maybe not as good at. And you start to find your own sound. And I think that's what I really like about this latest album is it's what the band is the best at, and what it can be. So I'm really proud of that one.
You were talking about that, and it kind of reminded me while you were talking about the Attila song, the pizza song, from Attila.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yep.
Which one's that, sir?
It was there's a song by Attila called the pizza. It's called Pizza. It's like it's just called Pizza.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. And it's got like a lot of like pizza, funny pizza lines in the songs, which is kind of funny. But it's really a good song. It's just kind of, kind of make it fun.
Well, it's definitely a fun song. It
definitely had like a line in there too, like 30 minutes or it's free and all that stuff in the song. So it's kind of like really funny, but it was really good too.
You could definitely hear the like your guys' evolution between the second album and then this one. And I did notice a little bit of the stylistic change you were talking about, Chris, in your vocal style. So you definitely hear it. And I mean, watching you guys on stage, you could definitely see how much fun you guys have with the performances and all that stuff. So, the effort that went into making the songs and then listening to the songs on the album, then seeing how it translated to the stage, in addition to the evolution from one recording to the next. And it was just the translation of it was, and especially for us being like the first time because back in September, you guys were a new band to us, like Jason said. So getting to kind of hear the, not necessarily, well, I was going to call it a renaissance, but that's not accurate. But the like the evolution, like I said, so, and then, like you talked about, like Chris, like you talked about, from album 1 to album 2 to album 3 to where you guys are now, the diversity in the sounds you guys have had, the evolution that you've had in your vocal style, and the overall structure of the songs, you can hear how, and we talk about the same thing with Trivium a lot, the maturity you guys are going through from one album to the next. And we're looking forward to, the next one. But what it does, what at least what I think it does, you guys can speak to this, better than I can, because you guys are going to be the ones making the music. Everything that you guys have done so far obviously contributes to what you'll do on album 4, because Chris, like you said, you've figured out what you're good at, what you're not on stage, but you can still put the accumulation of all that stuff into, what did we like on the first album, and can we still use it on album 4, and what didn't we like on the third album, do we want to keep out of album 4? So,
definitely.
Personally, I want to go somewhere halfway between the second album and third album for the next one, or even a more totally different direction, going the down-tuned songs on the latest record, sticking to that tuning, and going even like Onslaught, like the modern version of Onslaught, the heavier side, and going into that. It just seems to suit my voice a lot more. I sing in a Motorhead tribute as well, and I think that's definitely changed my vocals as well, doing that and doing the Lemmy stuff. I think that's got that grit to it now. So I'm really keen to see where we go. I hope the next album's 40 minutes. That's my other goal.
The new one didn't quite get there, did it?
Our whole, or at least my whole attitude with the third album was, we've got the previous 2 albums where we've put like a lot of effort into a lot of stuff and the songs and the arranging and everything. And then we've just got songs that we never play. So my whole my whole thing with this latest album was like the album is kind of like a lot to us is just like a live set. So just take what we do on stage, take the banter between the songs, and the can I like play this riff while I'm like jumping around in a circle, and take that and put it on a CD or on a recording, so to speak. So it's like fun and it reflects what we do live. And I think I feel like we captured it well, and I've spoken to a lot of people that have said like, oh, this album has a very like what you do live vibe to it. And I think if we can take maybe like that style and what we did on the second album and sort of what we're into now and what we've learned now will reflect pretty well on our next record, I think. So yeah, taking it to different places and maybe heavier and obviously a bit longer, and taking some of the elements of what's on our second album and the first album as well. And that'll probably be really cool. Actually, I'm sort of quite looking forward to the next one and getting back into some writing and stuff like that. So,
if there is a riff that you can't play, I would hate to see that riff, because because Jason and I were both standing there watching you play, and like after the set, in between your guys' set and the in between sets, we were just like, Jesus Christ, did you see him up there? And we were like, because it was unreal watching you play guitar. So we were like, we need to get them on the show, just because we want to talk to them. It was like, we need to get these guys on the show just so we can have more people just get to know who you guys are, because people need to watch you guys play. But man, Phil, people need to watch you play guitar. It's insane. It's on. It is.
Thanks. I really appreciate that. And again, it's like I just want to have fun, and like again, I can't help myself. Like once the gig starts, I'm like the freaking Energizer Bunny. Like I think I've got like undiagnosed ADHD or something. But then I would rather like make a guitar noise and drink a beer. Well, I say beer, but non-alcoholic beer. With my or point at you in the crowd or something, then just have my guitar up really high and just doing epic sweep picking or something. And I'm not knocking that at all, but I would rather just have fun with it and go crazy and try and just sort of interact with people. And I think I sort of do that fairly well. And I a lot of people after the gigs are generally like, wow, man, you're crazy or whatever, and like, yeah, cool. That's what I'm trying to get across, So because a lot of people, want to feel involved in it, and it's got to be entertaining. It's got to have entertainment value at the end of the day, So.
Well, you guys definitely had that in spades. And if anyone has ever come to one of your guys' shows and has said with a straight face that you guys don't entertain and aren't having fun on stage, they're just straight up fucking lying. Because if there was no other thing that we could tell about you guys up on stage, that you guys were having a goddamn blast.
Try to, man, every night, even if it's like we played with band like our friends Jessica Crater back home. They've just stopped playing. We missed their last show as well, spewing. But they kind of taught us that you should play no matter who's there. You have to play to your like the best of your ability every night. Like you shouldn't just treat a show with 5 people differently to a show with like 1,000 people. You should play the same. And just put on a good show, because you never know. You might have a lifelong fan that buys all your merch and supports you for life. So you just got to exactly.
That's what I said. If we would have actually cut both legs, both the front end and the back end of the tour, it would have been bad for me, but good for you guys, because I'd have probably dropped more money the second time. But
sometimes I get on stage and some shows, and it is hard. If you go, okay, there's not a lot of people here, but we're just gonna make use of. But one thing I think we have in this band is a great connection. We know when one's maybe feeling a bit low, and one, we know when to kind of even each other out and come up. And Phil will come up and just be like, Paul will come up and give me some knuckles and go, all right, man, we got this. Like before we play, we always huddle together and do a quick fist bump and go, let's have some fun. And and we do, and it's great. I think that's something that is what has made this band last over 10 years now. Is that so? Very,
and I think it's like too. It's amazing because you guys are a three-piece, and you don't see that a lot here in the States with bands as being they're usually 4 or 5 guys, or sometimes more if it's Mushroom Head, but you got like 20 people
all the time. You guys are only a three-piece. I'm so blown away that you get that sound out of 3 guys or whatever. Like we always get that all the time, pretty much every show.
Well, I did say that too. So I mean, I said it too. I said it too.
And it kind of reminds me of a band that we've kind of grown to love too, called Spirit of Drift. It's like those guys are just actually only 2 of them do the recording part, but three of them go on tour, and it's kind of wild to hear this one guy recording all of these guitar parts. I'm like, dude, there's no way this guy is doing that. So it's amazing to see, how these little bands, 2-3-piece bands, are doing all this. I'm just like, man, it's so freaking amazing to me, that they're sounding better than some of the 4 and 5 pieces that we're used to. So it's pretty, like I said, it's pretty amazing to hear a better sound come out of 3 than 5. So of course, you would think more the better, but not really in the case of music.
Not always. But it probably does help to create the connection and the chemistry that you guys do have with just the 3. So
we've kind of like worked out how to ham it up, and how to sort of make a spectacle of the fact that we're a 3-piece. So putting Chris in the middle, and then I kind of like got all the rest of the stage to run around back and forth.
We always used to do the because I based the band, like when we were starting the band, I called Phil one day, classic Hidden Intent story. I was playing bass in his hard rock band called Desert Eagle. It was more like a Van Halen kind of early Megadeth kind of sound.
Okay.
And it wasn't working out. For some reason, we just couldn't find a rock drummer. I don't know why. In Adelaide, finding just a 4/4 rock drummer was really difficult. And then, I called him up one day, and I was watching the band Coroner. They're one of my favorite thrash bands.
Coroner, yes, sir.
I sang and played bass in my old band, and which is more melodic sort of thrash stuff. And I called Phil, and I just said, "Hey, Phil, I've got this. Why don't we, instead of doing Desert Eagle, you're a thrash guy. You're playing in a rock band, Why don't we just form a thrash band, and I'll sing and play bass, and I'll work it out, and you play guitar, and then we'll play at Enigma, the local Enigma bar, once a month, and we'll see what happens." And you're like, okay,
sounds like fun, bro.
Yeah. And then here we are. It's weird. So it definitely. I think we're just really happy that we've got the best lineup we can have now. Having Paul come in with his experience from the bands he's played in, and one of his bands played on the same bill as Metallica. So we're gonna hold him to that, and just his songwriting as well. Him having the producer kind of background with the band, you can hear it on Fear, Prey, Demise and Dead End Destiny. Just the songwriting has definitely improved. So just those little bits of, you got to use, it's all teamwork. You got to use everyone's strength. I do a lot of management stuff.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
I show up and play guitar.
he packs all the equipment in the car. He's very good at that.
I'm the real life Tetris king, man. They're like, man, you're not going to get that stuff in the van. I'm like, hold my non-alcoholic beer.
So we always ask our guests these questions, the same, kind of the same question. A couple of them are the same, but most of the time we try to switch it up. But this is a question we always ask the bands on here. So it's Hidden Intent. is it become like your source of income at this point, or are you guys still having to do some stuff in the background to keep it afloat?
We've got the band account up to a level now where it can pay for the expenses. So but except for overseas touring, that's the only hurdle. The next hurdle, that's next. I guess the next band goal financially is to be able to pay for an overseas ticket. But we're in Australia, all expenses are covered by the account, which is great.
Nice.
Which is pretty good.
It makes it a lot easier for us, we're in Perth right now, and it's like we're not personally paying for our flights and stuff. So it's kind of like it's made it a lot easier. But then on that, having said that, it is still just a hobby for us. So, we've all got day jobs as well. So
but we all work for ourselves.
We all work for ourselves and we make it work. So we can,
that's nice.
A lot of people can't do what we do. They've got commitments, work commitments, and families and mortgages and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that we don't, but we've just figured out a way to make it work. And
it's sort of half business, half hobby, if that makes sense. So
perfect sense.
Yeah, have as much fun as we can, and also there are times we know that all right, we're going to have to pay. Each of us pay for the ticket to get there, but then everything else is covered. You don't have to worry about the car hire, the fuel, the hotels, the dinners on show days. We do like a thing in Europe and overseas where we do we give each member a budget per day. So it's after the show or before the gig, I'll round up the guys and give them their per diems or carpe diems, as we like to call it. And things to keep us going, so we're not using our own money, and it just works. We learned a lot from Lich King. They taught us a lot of this stuff.
Not only that, but we've toured with artillery, and we would that. I remember
Jesus Christ.
I just remember the moment we were in the train station and they were all walking around with their guitars and stuff. And it's like
that's like us.
It was like, oh my God, these guys are like a legendary band from the 80s, and they're just doing it like we're doing it. And our mate we're staying with here in Perth was telling us about how he's on the train to Varkin, and Millie from Creators just on the train with his guitar. Everyone gets off the train to go to line up to get into Varkin, and he's got his pass and he just goes that way. You know what I mean? It's it's not uncommon for everyone. Just we're just out there just doing it ourselves. Just making it work. So.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons we asked that question, is because I think a lot of people look at these bands on stage and think, oh man, they got it made. They're living the life, and they don't understand that it's not always the way it seems. You're up there having a good time doing what you love, but you still have to do 9 to 5 to pay for what you want to do. And hopefully you guys are halfway there. It sounds like, so hopefully it wouldn't be too much longer where we're hitting in tents, big enough to carry itself. So
we're getting there. It's a very long journey. It helps to have lots of merch. Lots and lots of merch is good. Rocking up to a gig with over 5 t-shirt designs definitely helps.
Right.
So that the piece that has span. Another thing we learned from Lich King was try and have every bit of variety you can price wise. Take $1 from someone all the way up to $50. Having every little, so we can at least make that $5 here and there, and it adds up. So
it does. Well, I didn't get a hidden intent shirt because, of course, we were on the back end of everything. So, they didn't have my size by the time we got back to Knoxville. So,
we've got you shirts, mate. So, come talk to me after.
Yeah,
we do the business.
Yeah, I did grab the first 2 CDs from you guys when I was there, so I do have those. So,
it was actually strange because you mentioned the routing earlier on the one tour that went in a nice perfect circle, because that was actually the one thing that I thought was really, really dumb about the tour you guys were on where we saw you with Angeles. You guys came to the 3 biggest cities in Tennessee, but not in order. I was like, that made because you guys started in Nashville. Then, you went out and you did some other stuff. And then you came back through Tennessee, But I was like, why the hell didn't they just go? Because I mean, I'm sure obviously this wasn't up to Angeles or you guys or anyone else. You guys should have gone Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville, or Knoxville, Nashville, Memphis. You guys, because you guys literally could have gone in direction across I-40, and I was like, it makes no sense at all. So
yeah, and then I think a factor of that as well is if the venues are free. So
yeah, I'm sure there is a lot that goes into it, but I mean, I saw the whole listing. I was like, that is so weird.
Where did you guys fly out of when you were going back?
LA.
Via
Atlanta.
Atlanta, yeah.
Atlanta.
Yeah. So
okay,
after
so
the
that
last,
wasn't too bad.
Yeah, South Carolina, we just drove down to Atlanta.
The reason we did that weird routing, I think, as well, was because our driver was from Tennessee. So the tour started there and finished there, and then Novo Chaos and Hidden Intent and our merch staff had to go back to Atlanta and fly out of there. So that's one other reason why I think it finished there. But yeah, a lot of it didn't make a lot of sense, and I think it was mainly due to the booking agent just trying to get what was available and just kind of slap it on a tour and go again, just very like.
Yeah,
like he would very, very well thought
pat on the back. Yeah. Here's your lunch, Pat.
She'll be right, mate. You guys probably don't say that. We got a saying over here, like she'll be right, mate. Like, off you go.
No, we don't.
Right.
We don't. Yeah. Well, we'll probably start saying it now, but
yeah. It just won't sound as cool.
No, it won't sound as cool.
Hotels even were another big issue. Like before the tour, I was like, "What's to do with accommodation?" I couldn't get a straight answer, and because I wanted to book the hotels for Hidden Intent where Angeles was staying, so we could all be together.
Right.
And even getting that was and even information was really hard. And then the first night where like I'm looking at our drummer and we're driving around because we didn't have a hotel booked for anyone, and we're like driving around on the first night, and I'm like, surely this would have been done like before the tour. So we fixed it on the road. It was fine, but it was just like something that
so then that first night, so you're talking about you were driving around in Nashville looking for a place to stay then.
Not Nashville, the show after that. Nashville had something. There was a show after it where I was like, learned very quickly that nothing was booked. So went Jesus. Yeah. So just stuff like that. It's like, how do you not? They're like some of the most important aspects of a tour. How is that not organized?
Right.
God.
So there's another question we always ask people, but I guess in your case, it may be easier to ask it a different way. We usually ask, what's the biggest, band that you've opened for? But I mean, damn, the bands you've already listed.
I know. I mean,
maybe easier for you. Maybe easier for you to just tell us who you haven't played with at this point.
I mean, all of the.
So I guess the question would be, who have you not played with that you would want to tour with?
There you
go. Waste would be cool.
Yeah,
Musical Waste.
Musical Waste.
Really
that'd be really
Testament.
That would be awesome.
Testament.
That'd be great too. Yeah.
I mean,
obviously there's the big ones like Megadeth and Metallica and Slayer aren't around anymore, but we were talking last night about this Pantera thing that's happening with Zakk Wylde and Charlie, and who's going to support them. Are they going to bring it down to Australia, and are we going to go, and wonder who the supports are going to be if they do, sort of thing. And imagine getting that support. That would be unreal. So
I'd like to play with some more thrash bands, just more of the I'd love to play with Warbringer. I'd love to play with them. Bonded by Blood, bands like that. I like to play with that next tier up of thrash.
Have we still got that Sacred Reich Violence?
Yeah, support? We've got Sacred Reich and Violence.
Are you guys really?
Yeah, in our hometowns.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Oh, that's fantastic. Because that's congratulations. That's fantastic. Because we actually,
that was lined up for 2020, and we were like, yes, and then it got cancelled, and I was just like so bummed.
Yeah, because we on our normal Saturday show, that's actually one of the segments that we have where he and I both pay attention to all the tours that have been announced during the week, and then we have a segment that we call Hitting the Road, and I think it was actually last week. It was either last week or the week before last, where that was one of the tours that got, because there's actually a lot of tours headed your guys' way down there.
Yeah,
let me tell you, and
the
that was actually
COVID's over, doors are open.
Yeah. So the floodgates are about to open, and I remember seeing that was one of the ones that was rescheduled, but it didn't. The website that I got the notification from, it didn't say anything about you guys opening up. But that is great to hear.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I'm like, fuck, I don't think it's been announced.
It's all right. It's on the.
It's oops. Yeah.
Well, tell you what,
that's a Dave Mustaine move right there.
Yeah, it is actually.
Yeah, I think the other night it was like Corey Taylor. He's like got the mic and he's like nodding. He's like, I cannot confirm nor deny.
Yeah.
Headlining download.
Yeah,
it was so funny. Dave was on a show. I think it was with like Guitar Magazine or something, and he was talking about the Lamb of God remake of Wake Up Dead, and Dave was leaking it, and Randy was like, "Dude, you ain't supposed to say shit about that until Friday, dude. What are you doing?" Dave's like, "Fuck you, I'm making this. I'll do it."
Yeah, but I tell you what I will do though. Now that I know that, is I will make sure that we mention that you guys are going to be opening up for that show, because that definitely needs to be out there. And so not to and not to toot our own horn too much, but I mean, it still surprises us, but I mean, we are getting some pretty good reach. So, if we can help let anybody know that you guys are going to be on that tour, we are more than happy to do that, because you guys absolutely deserve it. So
thank you.
Yeah, so we'll absolutely do that. Now, Chris, I want to do one thing, and Jason knows about this. He doesn't know what I'm about to do, but I have a supervisor where I work. And the night that I saw you guys play, and I actually took a couple pictures while you were playing, and my coworkers and I in my department, we have a group text where we just kind of bullshit and whatever and whatnot. I sent a picture of you to the guys, and I said, "Tell me this guy doesn't look like Zach." Zach is the name of our supervisor, and everyone was like, "Holy shit!" So what I did is I have a picture of my supervisor. So I have a picture of my supervisor, and I want to it's kind of a goofy picture that he took because he's a goofball, but I want to show it to you guys. So
cool.
Here, all right, hang on. So here is the picture. Here's the picture of Zach.
Nice. Yeah, the beard and the hair. I can see that.
See the resemblance, man.
Yeah.
I love that t-shirt too, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's
yeah. So that's my supervisor, and because that was like one of the first things that I noticed, when you guys were playing the first song, I was like, Jesus Christ, this guy just looks just like Zach. So I got a yeah, there you go.
Yeah, definitely with the hair up for sure. He had longer hair, and
he's actually let his hair grow out a little bit since then. This was taken a little earlier in the year when he went on vacation, but so I wanted to do that.
Is he Italian, Greek? Because I'm Maltese is my background. So
honestly, I don't know what his heritage is, because he's originally from West Virginia. So I mean, he could. And he's made jokes about it. He could be his own brother. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm
gonna tell on myself a little bit. I told my wife, she's real big with accents and stuff, and I said, you can't listen to the show because there's a guy on here. He's got long hair and a beard, which she likes both. And I said, and he has an accent, so you can't listen. She said, well, you might get lucky. And I said, I said, and then she got that like, then she got to like tease me. She said, "Well, what does he look like?" And I said, "Well, I'll tell you this: I was gay for about 10 seconds, and then." But no, actually, the first thing that reminded me of when I met Chris was I said, "Dude, he reminds me of the guy on Deuce Bigelow where he keeps his house or whatever."
Oh, Oded Fair.
Yeah. I was like, that's what he reminded me when I first met him.
You know that movie, Juice Bigelow?
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
Yeah. Get it. I want to see it.
Hang on, I got you.
I think it was more like maybe the height because you were a little. You're what, like 6'1" or 2" or something probably.
What was that? Sorry,
6'1".
So you're about like 6'1" or so. That's about how tall you are. Yeah, because I knew you were a little taller than I was. So
I get some weird ones. I get Mike Patton have my hair back. I've had Mike Patton, and I've had when people were really drunk. I've had Jason Momoa. I'm like, yes, that's the one you want.
That's right.
That is the one you want.
I need to be a bit more tanned and lose some more weight.
You should just tell everybody you're his body double. Like, well, I'm his body double.
Okay, so here we go. I got now. I went ahead and I got a picture. I went ahead and got a picture from that movie because Oded Fair is a little older, and he's gray now. So you're a lot younger than Oded Fair. So I went ahead and got a picture from the movie. So let me see what we got going here.
Well, he was also in The Mummy, right? He was in The Mummy too. So.
Yeah, well that is true. That is true. But so here we go. We're gonna share this right here. So
Machine Head.
Right. Yeah. He can pass for a Rob Flynn. Yeah.
Hey,
you could pass for Rob Flynn. You could.
Yeah.
Now we need a Machine Head hidden intent tour. See. So.
Oh my God, are you fucking kidding me right now? Well, let's just go ahead and book Machine Head, Warbringer, Heathen, and Hidden Intent. Let's just do that. Let's just do that shit right now.
That sounds great. Sign me up.
I don't know.
Oh, so here's a really good. Here we go. Wait a minute. Hang on. Hold on.
I'm
getting a little
better. So.
I'm getting a little overzealous with my clicking here. Hang on a second. Where did I go? Here we go. All right. Yeah, let's do this right here. Yeah, so here we go. We're gonna do this one here. All right, we're gonna.
Okay.
We're playing an impromptu game of who does Chris look like?
Yeah.
I guess the people can vote when they're when you put it up online, I guess.
Yeah. So here we go. Right there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, shit. Ready? I'll do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll do you that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Far out. Been told I sound like him a bit on the last album too. So that's
you did. Yeah, you did.
Yeah. A bit heavier on the vocals.
Yeah.
I love Rob Flynn. He just tries to keep Machine Head going. He just squeezes the juice, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. We're actually going to see them in 2 weeks. So
yeah.
They're gonna be in Nashville in 2 weeks. So we're gonna go see them. So what are we looking at as far as the fourth album?
We've sort of lightly discussed writing and then probably road testing the songs next year.
Cool.
And then, I think we probably we didn't road test anything on the last album. So we were talking about road testing the stuff, seeing how it sort of goes down live and works on the road before we record it. Or we might just go and record it and put an album out for, say, if we're going over to Europe or something, which hopefully we will be, then we'll obviously need a release before then. So, one of those two things. We've sort of got the skeletons of maybe about 6 tracks already. So, we've sort of begun the process and started having conversations about it and just putting down some ideas. So, next year there's probably going to be a new album for sure. As to when how we're going to go about it, we're not really too sure yet. So
we've got about 6 songs in the works already. We just got to fine tune them and get together again, and we just needed a bit of time. I think after that US tour, just to kind of have just have a bit of a break. But then we went on tour with Heathen, and now we're in Perth. So break.
Right.
That's his version of a break, you know.
Yeah.
But,
right.
Man, a couple days, man.
Yeah. So we get distracted a lot with tours. We would have more albums out, I think, if we didn't tour so much. You know, we're always we take advantage of all these opportunities, you know, which is great, but it does,
absolutely.
Does stop you from writing. So we need to be a bit more disciplined with that, which we will do soon. So new album, hopefully, end of next year. I think that's what we're aiming for. So
all right. Yeah. So I mean, so if there are 6 songs in the works for the new album, are there any lingering songs that have been around from anything that like kind of didn't make any of the first 3 albums? So
not really, no.
Okay.
So we'll kind of try to if we've got a song that isn't working, or we've got like a demo or something, and then so there would be plenty of old songs, but we've gone in and used just that riff or just this part in something else.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like, all right, the rest of it didn't work, but this chorus section is really good. This intro riff can be used for a chorus or whatever. We've already sort of gone back over all our old stuff and stuff that was laying around and used it. So this album is just entirely fresh stuff. And again, that'll probably happen again, where we'll put songs together, and if they're not working out, we'll just take a bit that we like and use it for something else.
Yeah, I guess there's never any bad recordings.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got something, you might have a big thing, but you're just going to use a bit of it, then that's cool, So.
Yeah. Well, good. All right. So now, Phil, you said that when Chris called you up to form Hidden Intent, you said, "Yeah, thrash band. Let's see how it goes." Is this the first thrash project you've been in? Because you said you were just like, let's see how it goes.
Yeah. No, this is the first like thrash metal band that I was in. Where we're like playing fast all the time and all that kind of thing. So I've always been into that. I was already into, thrash metal bands. I just wasn't playing that in my last band that I was in. It was more like, mid-tempo sort of to fast-tempoed stuff, but I definitely wouldn't call it, thrash, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
But I was down. We had a really, really good band here in Australia, in Adelaide, called Imminent Psychosis. Just a really, really good thrash metal band, absolutely killer. And I remember thinking in the back of my mind when Chris said thrash metal, I was like, yeah, I'd really like to be in a band like that. Just heaps of double kicking and thrash riffs and like lots of solos and all that kind of thing, high energy. But then, again, just having fun with it,
So even though this was your first thrash band that you've been in, has that always been your musical background? Was that like the style of music that you've basically always played, even though you weren't in a project that played it?
Yeah. So I'm really into like, early Megadeth, Slayer, Pantera, because I like heavy guitars and I like solos, and stylistically, I found the guitar playing of those bands very attractive.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah,
so that was definitely the style of music that I was attracted to and liked playing. Yeah. So.
All right. So Chris, basically, it sounds like, this forming Hidden Intent was basically your idea. So I do know, I do looking at your guys's, bio page here. You know, Chris, you've been in 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like you were in like 5 other bands, you know, in bits and pieces. Like it's got you listed as, you know, you were in Shadow Realm as a live player. So
yeah,
I don't really have the background, you know, as far as, you know, listening experience for your other projects. When you had the idea of forming Hidden Intent, was this your first thrash project, or was it a thrash project that you wanted to call your own?
I played in a band before. The name is not very good, by the way, so brace yourself. Called Abysmal. We were called Abysmal with a Z instead of an S. Abysmal, okay. And my high school buddy Rory, still really good mates now, but and that we were actually doing quite well. But I think what I found very quickly in that band was that they weren't the right guys. They didn't have the same vision that I had. I wanted to go further with it and do more. And I'm one of these people where if I do something, I put everything into it. I don't just do, I go hard. I'm like, you know, a die-hard C student, you know. So I'm not the smartest guy, but I have the dedication.
We can relate.
Yeah, there you go.
I was smart with that. What instrument should I play? Oh, I play bass. You know? Not many bass players, so I'll just do that. But and then the singing thing kind of came later. But yeah,
I joke with, on a side note, I joke with him about that all the time. I'm like, bro, you are the smartest dumbass that I
know. But yeah, I pretty much wanted to do Hidden Intent with my vision of what I wanted to do with it. And I knew when I saw Phil playing in Desert Eagle, my first thought was he's playing in the wrong band and he should be playing with another thrash guy, whether it's me or someone else. And he's been obviously approached by other bands to like look at playing with, but I guess he probably stuck it out because Hidden Intent, we're all on the same page and it just works. And we've got Paul who's been in the band for a while now, and having that as your backbone, having a really good solid drummer that can play different styles is amazing. So yeah.
So he poached it basically.
Yeah.
He was like, I want to do this and I need these guys. And he made it happen, you know.
And I have some song ideas, but I don't know a lot of theory. So this is my ideas and you do your filter.
I like it.
I do like, yeah. I absolutely like it.
Sometimes I can't play them on the bass, like because I'm a big Cannibal Corpse fan. I love Alex Webster's approach to writing. He does a lot of it on bass, and he's one of the reasons I play bass. Actually, I came from a lot of death metal bands like Beyond Mortal Dreams, Obsidian Aspect, so I have that approach as well. Early death metal sound, but to thrash metal. But yeah, I showed the riffs. Sometimes I have riffs, and I just show Phil. I hum it to him, or I want a song like this. I show him on my phone, and Phil just has this amazing ability to go, oh yeah. And just kind of grab your idea and run with it.
There you go.
You just need a little bit of encouragement first. Yeah, it's a really good skill, mate. Okay.
So I got a couple of technique questions then. So as a bass player, do you do finger playing or do you use a pick?
I predominantly play with fingers, but I'm learning to play with a pick for my Motorhead tribute. So gotcha. I'm wanting to do a little bit of that on the next album, maybe a little bit of chord pick playing, but I'm predominantly a finger player. Cliff Burton, Alex Webster, Geezy Butler. And influences.
And then a question for Phil there is like I just read something, so I got to ask a guitar player this since I got one on. I just read where James Hetfield was doing an interview where he talked about he holds his pick with 2 fingers and a thumb, and I thought, man, that was that would be kind of odd to me as a guitar player.
Yeah.
I've played, but I'm not that good, so. And it's been like 20, 30 years ago, so I couldn't probably do shit anymore. But I was just thinking about that, and I was just imagining that. And I thought, man, my fingers are huge anyway, so I couldn't imagine having a hold a pick with a size 13 ring finger. You know, I was like, so I was wondering, did that seem like? Does it seem like that would mess the technique up for somebody that's used to doing 2 if you had to hold it with 3?
Yeah. I just use my finger and my thumb to hold my pick. And another thing that's really important to me, and I was talking to some guitar players last night and the other bands about this, was I used to use these Dunlop picks, and I used to just get them and just get a bottle cap and just scratch them up. And because especially playing fast thrash metal stuff with a lot of 16ths and a lot of triplets and that, I found that I was getting like a fatigue RSI type deal all up my arm. And I worked out that it wasn't from playing fast. It was from squeezing my pick so hard that I wouldn't drop it. So I've just moved over to these Jazz 3 picks with the like the grip on them, and it's like you barely have to hold it. It's just nice and light, and it just stays in your finger and your thumb, and you just sort of found myself exerting like a lot less effort to get the same like response and attack out of the guitar. And so yeah, it's the opposite. Like I don't want to be like squeezing my pick, holding it as hard as possible. I want everything to be nice and light and easy. And
I think that's what he was saying. Like why he held it with 3 is because he said I found when I was playing with 2 it would move. The pick would move around. Yeah, that makes sense though. Yeah, so if it
does make sense.
Yeah, definitely. Like with me, if I was doing it, I would definitely want something with a groove in it. So that's pretty smart, man. With a bottle cap, that's pretty cool. Like,
yeah, I mean, I tried a lot of things. Like a pair of pliers or a Stanley knife or like a razor blade, screwdriver, whatever. I just found a beer bottle cap. You just scrape it along the pick, and it would leave a real high raised, like nasty edge. That's excellent for grip. So, but yeah, now I've moved over to these Jazz 3s, and I don't know why I didn't get on the Jazz 3 train earlier. They just suit me really well. So yeah, they got to be the ones with the grip on them though, not the smooth ones. So, yeah.
So it's like I got kind of curious when I knew I was talking to you guys. I said I wonder how many like metal bands are in Australia, and I was like really surprised about how many that came up. And like I said, how many that came up that I didn't realize were from Australia, like Parkway Drive. I was like, well, hell, I didn't even realize they were from that area. It's like that's crazy, but
they're huge, man.
Yeah. Like I'm actually going to see them in February. So,
my partner, she's like my missus isn't very much into the metalcore stuff, and she loves them, and they're great. And they do a lot of cool documentaries, behind the scenes stuff. I like watching. So,
I've seen them on the first time I seen them. They were on tour with Kill Switch, so it was kind of a good 1-2 punch there. So, but yeah, I was like I said, going down the list is like I seen Amity Affliction was on there. I was like, wow, I didn't realize like some of those bands were. Of course, AC/DC we all knew, but
right, yeah, of course.
And then you had North Lane and Heart's Waste, Polaris.
Polaris.
Yeah,
really good band, man. Again, nothing like us stylistically, but yeah, there's definitely something about those guys that grabbed me when I heard them. I was like, far out, man. Like, who are these guys? They're their vocalist is amazing.
They did 2 sold out shows in Adelaide.
No, they're
like what? That never happens in Adelaide.
Yeah, they're a big deal, man.
It's always like one show maybe sells out, but like Polaris played here 2 nights.
Yeah, North Lane are quite well known as well.
So I mean,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say. So I mean, with the way technology is now, we're talking to you guys. I don't even know how many thousand miles away we are from you guys physically right now. So I mean, even though we have technology and everything, and we got airplanes and all that good shit, so it kind of makes the world a little smaller. But I mean, with you guys being in Australia, and Australia, being a little bit not necessarily isolated, but a little further away from everybody in the grand scheme of things, do you guys feel that there's like a tighter knit metal community in Australia due to that kind of being in your own kind of corner of the world?
I don't know. I've never really thought about it.
Yeah, there's a weird statistic I saw recently with the fact that Australia is so spread out and the population isn't that much for how much, like, obviously density and land we have. So it makes touring acts really hard because you're flying these crazy long distances or driving these crazy long distances but the crowd, especially the metal crowd, can only get so much. And I find another band to me in Australia explained it really well. It was like the Australian metal scene maintains itself. It doesn't necessarily get any bigger, but it's very consistent overall.
Mm-hmm.
But no, maybe not like crazy. Obviously, we haven't got the population of the US and Europe, but
right.
But I mean, yeah, shows do really well if they're at a good venue and promoted well and not crazy. Like obviously a band like Heathen, for instance, that's going to do really well, and like a 200, 300 cap venue is going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And that's very easy to pack out. So whereas, if it was any bigger than that, like if you're asking for 1,000 people to watch Heathen in Australia, it just wouldn't happen. So it's just one of those things.
Now you did mention, and I can't remember the name of it. You name dropped a venue a little bit ago, talking about playing a certain venue just like once every couple of months.
Oh
like,
that's Enigma Bar.
That was what it was. So I mean,
our local. Yeah.
Okay. So there, you guys still have like your, for lack of a better, you guys have your usual venues that you guys play when you go from city to city there.
Yeah. Like you go to places. Yeah. So Adelaide's got Enigma. Melbourne's got the Bendigo Hotel.
Gold Coast, Vinny's Dive.
Gold Coast got Vinny's Dive Bar.
Yeah, we try and keep the small cap venues, unless we're playing like a festival or something. Then obviously we hand the promoter will book wherever they are doing said festival. But yeah, we prefer to get for thrash metal. I just think it works having a smaller packed venue. Even last night was great. We were questioning last night and it went really well. So it's just one of those things. You roll the art to say the boys. You roll the dice.
And
just all the in place. We've done all our work, running ads, selling tickets. As long as we've done our work, then generally speaking, hopefully it should be all good. So.
And just to show off my C student skills here, we're 11,105 miles away. So
there you go.
Okay, there you go. That's a
far, mate.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah,
that's a long way.
It's a long swim. That's a long swim for sure.
Yeah, when we were on tour with Lich King, we went into we were staying at a hotel or a backpackers or something after the show in Europe. Can't remember where we were in Europe, but they had like a world map with the people put the pins on there where they're from.
Oh, yep.
And like the listing guys are just like, oh yeah, I'm from here in the States or from here or whatever. And I like grabbed a pin and I was just like all the way down. And they were just like, is that where you're from? They're like, yeah, bro. It's like a long way, man. Like literally, I say the other side of the planet, but that's actually literally the other side of the planet,
Yeah,
so,
literally, yeah. Because
it makes it very hard, I think.
So another
band down under, it's hard. I mean,
another band.
No, you go, man. It's all good.
Another band on this list I seen was Make Them Suffer, which is a band that I've kind of grew on me in the last at least 4 years. So.
Yeah.
Yep. Ahead of those.
Not
guys.
thrash.
Right. Yeah. Not thrash. Yeah.
No, not thrash. Not thrash. But I posted this. You brought up Cannibal Corpse a little bit ago, and I don't know if you saw this or not because I posted it on I posted on our Facebook page. It was either earlier today or yesterday. Did you see? I can't even remember where the hell the concert was, but Corpse Grinder was doing an intro for I Come Blood, and there was like this little video clip of one of the security guards in front of the stage. Yeah. His reaction to the song. Have you seen that by any chance?
No, I can't say that I have.
It was hilarious.
It was.
Look at it.
It was fantastic. It was fantastic. It was so funny, the security guard's reaction. So, well, all right, you guys. Speaking of, I wanted to run something by you guys because you mentioned it a little while ago, talking about the festivals that you guys have played. We had a band on we had another guest earlier this year, back in the spring. They're a band from the United States, up in the Northeast. They're a band called Sepsis, and they are a dual vocal attack. They have a male vocalist and a female vocalist, and their male vocalist is a very, very passionate individual named William Savant, and he's become a friend of the show, which we greatly appreciate. And he's been a very, very vocal advocate against pay to play for festivals. So what is your guys' take on that? Because he couldn't be any more against it if you asked him to be. So what is your guys' take on that?
I think for a festival, that's something we've never really come across. I don't know. I would like, you know, if someone said to me, "Oh, you can play this festival and it's you know, it's going to cost you like X amount of dollars," I would be like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Can we just pay for
in terms of like, you know, what they call like a buy-on tour. Mm-hmm. So it's, you know, if there's a tour package, and then, you know, you're essentially just paying for your share of the bus and the fuel and the accommodation and the food and all of that kind of thing. And like, I think if it's the right deal, that's totally fair. So yeah, like paying to go on tour, if it's the right deal, yes. Paying to play a festival, I can't see the benefit of that.
For one show.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we do. I think doing a buy-on for a tour makes sense in the early days. Like our first tour was a very small buy-on, but we actually worked it out as a band, and we went, if we paid for these things on our own tour, it would actually cost more. So
yeah, like I think we're on a buy-on and we're in Europe, and it was like, you know, the cost per member per day was like, it's impossible to backpack around Europe that cheap. It's impossible. You know, so it's like, this is actually a really good deal because we're in a van, we're getting transportation, we're getting somewhere to stay after the gig, and we're getting fed, you know, dinner and all of that, and some beers.
Got a driver.
We've got a driver, and it's like, if we were on holiday and you're backpacking around, it would be costing us more money. So how can you say no to that, you know? But then we've had the opposite end of this spectrum as well. It's like, hey, you can come on tour with us, and it's like, how much? You know? Oh man, I can put a deposit on a house for that money, you know. So
I found the buy-on, it opens up opportunities to not pay a buy-on. Does that make sense? So it's sort of like you buy in, and then you get some benefits on the back end, like a relationship with a band, and then they might invite you out again and say, this time it's not going to be that. It's you guys.
Yeah,
cool,
like we were talking before with Angelus and that, just forming relationships and investing in the future. So
yeah, so that first buy-on tour we did opened up another, like 2 or 3 international tours from that one buy-on, and the other ones we did, we had to pay for, and we got paid for those as well. So sometimes you gotta give and take.
I mean, would you get that out of a festival though? You know, and are we talking, you know, again, I guess, are we talking about like buying onto one gig or a run? You know, if it's like a touring festival, are you getting to do all the shows? Or I don't know, but it does seem like a silly idea when, if you're performing, then you should be getting paid, not the other way around.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I know a lot of people that listen to this show are tired of hearing me talk about this, but I used to be a pro wrestler, so I kind of relate to a lot of the promoting stuff that goes on. And like, I always like have these guys that when I wrestled, they would go and work for these promoters for free. And I said, at some point, you got to realize, are you getting booked because of your worth or because of your talent? You know, at that point, you got to say, okay, why am I getting to work these shows? Because the word's going to get out where you're doing the shows for this guy for free. Then this guy's going to want you to do the shit for him for free. And then you're not ever getting paid to do any shit.
So it cheapens it. Yeah. It's like you know,
so I don't know. Like, I know a lot of these promoters are in cahoots with each other. They know each other. So I mean, it's kind of like, you know, it's like if you had somebody that had a successful tour with you guys, and you're like, hey man, you know, if you want to pick up these guys on our next tour over, I'm busy. Then that promoter could pick up you guys and, you know, carry on the success of the tour. which is kind of like what goes on here. It's like, oh, this guy's great, man. If you want to use him on the days I'm not, then you feel free. But yeah, I kind of get like promoting issues is always like, I think it's in entertainment. It's like a big issue, period, in entertainment. Whether you're in music or movies or like I said, wrestling or football, or of course football over here kind of pays for itself. But you still got to have those commercials paying for your spots and stuff like that. So I mean, it's a lot goes into it.
So another thing that we have talked about a couple of times on the show with some of our guests is, this was a story, I can't remember when this came out, but we've asked a couple other bands their opinions on it, and you touched on, Chris, on it just briefly, talking about merch. You guys try to have like a variety of merch to take with you. Like you said, if you can have options for basically anyone's budget, what is your guys' take or even experience with some of these venues who are like, yeah, I get 20% of your shit?
Yeah, again, like
yeah, exactly.
I guess if they're supplying someone like to sell your merch to work there, and then obviously that person, they're working, so they need to be paid, and then we don't have to do the merch. We don't have to sell it because there's someone there selling it for us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fair, I think. But just taking 20% for the shit hell of it because they can is I don't know if you guys saw a video that was floating around on like Facebook and Instagram about there's a guy on stage and he was just like, these guys are taking 20% of our merch. You think they could at least afford working air conditioning?
That was
that was the same one. Yeah.
That was the story we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's it's just a cash grab essentially at the end of the day.
So was there any of that you guys had to deal with on the last North American tour?
Yeah, the whiskey. Yeah. So we rocked up at the whiskey, and they take a cut of your merch, it was there's like no rise or anything. It was a bit disappointing, actually, to be honest. Like it was a bucket list item to play there for sure, but I wasn't overly stoked to say how the bands got treated in general.
You want to hear something? You want to hear something funny about that story? Is I just looked it up. It was the lead singer for Alpha Wolf, which is an Australian metalcore band.
Yeah. Does it say they were playing?
He was actually. Yeah, he was on stage. He did it from the stage. I think he was.
But
like during the show. Yeah,
but like he was asking what venue it was. I don't remember.
Hold on, I can look it up real quick.
I don't remember the name of the venue, but he was pissed.
Yeah,
I think he had I really think he had a right to be.
Well, yeah,
because we had a guest on a few weeks ago. They were a power metal band out of Sweden, Hexed, and we asked them about it, and he kind of and Stellan, the guitar player, he kind of was of the same opinion as you guys, that if they're going to provide someone to sell the shirts, it's one thing, but if you guys are just like, just bottom line, no questions asked, just for the fuck of it, you're going to give us $1 out of every 5 just because we say so, just because you're using our building, then I think venues like that, they deserve like a singer calling them out on stage like that, because I think it's bullshit too. So
and especially if it's just unfair, then like I'm all about things being fair.
Sure.
So, I mean, you have to sort of look at what goes on behind the scenes. And if a venue said to you, like, hey, guys, we're going to take 20% of your merch, but we're going to provide somebody to sell it. And, we're going to give you a nice backstage area. And obviously we've got like equipment and amps and drums and everything that you can use. We've got like stage hands that are going to help you get your stuff on and off stage. So from a business standpoint, we have to pay all of these people, you know.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's fair. And if we want to say, well, actually, we're not comfortable with that, we'll load our own shit on and off stage and like sell t-shirts to people outside in the car park, you know, and then they go, all right, that's what you want to do, then you go and do that. But to just turn around and go, hey guys, we're going to take your money, on top of the fact that you're, you know, entertaining people in their venue, and the people they're taking a cut from the door, and they're getting all the money over the bar and all of that kind of thing, and then it's just unfair, isn't it? So
yeah,
you know,
that show we had our merch staff for the tour basically said to us, just raise your prices for that one show. And then I was like, oh, I mean, like that, I get it. Like you're covering that 20% cost by increasing the merch, so you're not losing any money. But then to me, it's like,
if someone doesn't buy something because it's too expensive, that negates the higher price.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like, I mean, I get that it's the whiskey and people are paying top dollar. I mean, it's like $14 for a Jack and Coke there. So I mean, a t-shirt that's $30 or $40 shouldn't really be that much of a difference. But to me, it's just, yeah, I thought that might scare away a few sales, just raising the prices a bit. But yeah,
well, in that particular instance, it also becomes kind of like a principle thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know? So I kind of understand the logic to a point, because, you know, but at the same time, you know, because I mean, you guys know, because you've been on the tour the whole time. You've already set the price for the merch, and then, you know, even though like the people showing up, they don't know that last night at the last venue the shirt was $30, but tonight, because of the venue you're in, you got to charge $36 to offset a 20% markup. So, but at the same time, you know, it kind of I can see how it would weigh on your conscience a little bit, because you know, all right, the entire tour, the shirt's been 25 or the shirt's been 30, and no one's had an issue with it. I could see how it would kind of like gnaw at you a little bit. So I kind of understand, but in the instance of like a quid pro quo situation, where it's like, all right, they're gonna take some money, but, you know, they're gonna have a load-in team, and they're gonna have this, and they're gonna have that. So I mean, it's a you know, if it's a symbiotic relationship kind of thing with a venue, that I understand, because you can't be 100% rigid 100% at a time. So I can see how, you know, if they're helping you, you help them, because like you say, everyone has employees and everyone has people they got to pay. So I get that, but just a flat because we said so fee, yeah, it's just bullshit. So that guy calling out the venue, I think he was well within his rights.
It's kind of funny, because like when I get to like a story that actually mentions the bar, it's been reported, so you can't really see what bar it was that got called, or venue that got called out. So, so the venue's reporting everybody that says anything, I guess. But
well, shit, that's no good.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. You can't. Because I guess it would hurt their business though. If you.
Yeah, it's happening out there, and yeah, there's definitely, again, like we were saying before, with the promoters and stuff like that, there's people that do the right thing and people that do the wrong thing, and you just got to sort of sift your way through it all at the end of the day.
So where are you guys playing at tonight? And it sounds weird me saying it, because it's like quarter to 11 where I'm at. So it's quarter to 10 where Jason's at.
Yeah,
so
it's not more here. We're just starting our day.
Yeah, you guys are just starting your day. So where are you guys? So it's like, what are the next few dates that you guys are playing out there?
We're playing a metal club tonight. It's called Hornography. So it's a monthly metal. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah,
Hornography.
Hornography. It's a monthly metal club, and we've been meaning to play Perth, but the Western Australian borders have been closed for a long time because of COVID. So we haven't been able to play Perth for 4 years. So just being busy with our own tours, and then COVID hit, and then just postpone, and now we're finally here. So we've got our second show in Perth tonight, and then we've got just one more Adelaide show at our hometown in December, and then we're pretty much getting stuck into writing, ready for the new year, because we've got a few shows in the new year we're doing as well. A couple of festivals, one in Melbourne, one in Canberra, in our other capital, Australia. We're doing a festival with Psychroptic, which should be really cool. Another big Australian band you should check out.
Cool. Yeah, we'll do.
Just have a bit of writing period before the new year. So.
Nice.
Just another update on that before, and I'll get off this topic. But I was reading where the lead singer for Alpha Wolf, Loki Kia, he said after that night I sold all the merch out of the back of my van. Fuck them.
Yeah, that's something we would do.
That's fucking great.
Hell yeah! No, I mean that's smart, man.
Yeah, that's good on him.
Hell, just go. Yeah, just tell everybody you'll be at the local Waffle House after the show. If you want a shirt.
Yeah, man. Waffle House, Denny's.
Yeah. Come across the street. Yeah, come across the street to the parking lot over there, and we'll hook you up.
Okay, so this is also, Jason talks about stuff we have asked every single one of our guests, and so we'll ask you guys too now, because you guys have been all over the fucking world. So, but we always want road stories, whether it's something funny, whether it's something embarrassing, or whether it's something just fucking memorable. So we want road stories.
Las Vegas. Oh, no, I wasn't going to do that one. We were like in the Philippines. And
don't do that one.
Come on,
no, don't do that one. He said, don't do that one.
That's heaps better than that one.
The short version of Vegas or the short version of?
No, if you want to do the Philippines, you can do it. Yeah, go on.
We're just like doing this gig in the Philippines. We've been staying with the promoter all week, and I went to use the toilet, and there's like a fully broken toilet. Like the door doesn't lock. There's no seat on the toilet. There's no flush handle. Nothing. It's like totally broken. There's like a sign on it. Everything out of order. And anyway, I go into the toilet and I come out and there is just like a massive pile of shit in the toilet. And I'm like. As soon as I looked at it, I was like, who fucking did that? And then I was like, oh, that was Chris. I bet that was Chris. I go back to the table and he's just like, bro, we used the toilet and I went to flush it. There was no handle. I was like no handle. There was like no seat. I'm like, how did you do that, man?
And the promoter?
The promoter was like, oh, somebody shattered that broken toilet, man. Oh, but we're just like,
and I was like, who would do that?
Who was that, man? Yeah, who was terrible.
The promoter got an aftershave out of his bag and was like spraying himself.
Oh, wow.
I did that. Probably too many beers, but
there's another one. We were really, really late driving into Las Vegas on our first US tour, and we were like super, super late. Like we were supposed to get there during the day and go check out the strip and stuff, and we were driving in at like 10:30 at night. And it was like, it's cool. Like, we can still go. We'll just go check into the Airbnb, and then we'll get out there, sort of thing. We get to the Airbnb, all get on the Wi-Fi, and it was like the Mandalay Bay shooting was happening.
Jesus Christ!
At that time. So it was like,
just missed it.
We were like literally got into Vegas as it happened, and we were all on the Wi-Fi going like, oh my God, we're like just across the road sort of thing. And we were just like freaking out.
Yeah, I have it was a bit of a blessing that me holding up the band the night before with my.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, I was just about to say, think if you weren't late, it's like, wow.
I got a little bit adventurous with the US cuisine, put it that way. And I got a bit carried away. And the next day we had to change over vehicles at the rental, and it just held everything up. And then that combined with me, and we got in late. But it saved our lives. It was weird.
Potentially, yeah. We could have been anywhere.
I knew that was my plan.
Out and about, doing whatever, you know, while that was going down. So
wow, man, that's crazy.
Crazy how things pan out sometimes.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, that's what I tell. Like I tell my wife a lot of times, you know, we forget something at the turn back. She goes, "Oh, man, we're going to be late," and I'm like, you know, for some reason it had to happen, you know. So I don't sweat it for things like, because I remember they were building this new bridge and stuff over in our area, and there was a guy that had a tanker truck and went under it and blew up.
He fell asleep. He fell asleep. Yeah.
Yeah, and it blew up, and like I was late to work that day. I had to turn around and get my badge to get into the building to clock in and stuff in my building. So I had to turn around, and then when I went back, of course, the traffic was backed up so bad. And I just called in. I said, "Dude, I'm not going to make it. There ain't no way." And they said, "Well, just don't worry about it." There was a tanker truck blew up on the interstate, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And I look at like the time frame when it happened, and I'm like, "Man, if I had kept going, I would have been like right in the middle of that shit somewhere." It's like, you know, who knows where, but I'd have been like really close to it happening. I'm like, oh man, thank God I was, you know, and like you don't think about those things until, like you said, you have it happen to you. Then you're like, damn, if we weren't late, man, that's crazy.
We've had stuff like that, like, you know, the end of that US tour, we had a couple of days in New York at the end, and then like we flew home to Australia, and then it was like some spot that we were just at in New York, they were showing on the news there'd been like a shooting or something, and it was like we were just there. You know, we went to Tasmania, and like we were out at a karaoke bar, and while we were out at the karaoke bar, our hotel burned down. Like, we've had heaps of stuff like that happen to us where we've like just missed it.
Well, so that's why y'all had bad luck on this tour, man. Like y'all been dodging it so long.
Like missing things and then going into that and just what a bad luck.
But I think you'll take that bad. You can take that bad luck over what would have happened though. So
Oh shit, absolutely. Yeah.
We're definitely glad that it worked out. Of course, not for other people, but for you guys, we're glad it worked out the way it did. So.
Yeah, we got to get going anyway.
Thanks so much.
Totally fine. Absolutely. Yeah,
we appreciate it. And, you got the Hidden Intent website you guys can check out for those guys, and of course follow them on all their socials and buy their merch. That's how they get paid. So.
Absolutely, buy the merch.
It's Hidden Intent Official, pretty much. So it's like Facebook, Instagram, all of that is Hidden Intent Official, and the website is hiddenintentofficial.com. So.
Yep. I was actually just over at the official website just a little bit ago, and your guys's the CDs are also for sale on Bandcamp. I saw that. So yeah, follow Hidden Intent on all the socials.
Support.
Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff. All you guys who may be listening right now down in Australia, check them out. They're going to be coming to a city near you, and then in the new year.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, man. That's
thanks, guys. It's been a blast.
Yeah, man,
sure.
Good luck on the tour and stuff. And hey, y'all get a new album out. Holler back at us. We'll get on here and talk about the new stuff.
Hell yeah,
killer.
Let's do it.
Thanks, guys.
That'll be good, man. Yep. Appreciate it.
Phil Bennett, Chris McEwen, and probably hanging around somewhere in the background is Paul Lewis. There he is.
Really.
Hidden Intent, everybody. Hidden Intent.
Get a dog up here, mate.
Hell yeah, man. All right.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Yep. Have a great show.
Yeah. Take care.
Take care.
Awesome.
Yep. Great couple of guys. We knew they would be because like
we had already told them.
Yeah, like we told you guys, we got to rub elbows with them a little bit at the end of the show in Knoxville back in September. So, really great guys, really down to earth, super duper funny. So so we definitely appreciate them taking time out of their Saturday.
Saturday. And I knew we were going to, and I was actually surprised we got 2 hours out of them, honestly, but I knew it was going to be kind of a compact interview since they were having to prep for a show later. So.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, hell, I don't consider I definitely don't consider a 2-hour interview being
no,
truncated.
Not by no means. I'm just saying it. I knew it wasn't going to
Sure.
go like 3 hours. I wasn't expecting it to. Whereas a lot of times we get carried away with and wind up going 2-3 hours or
Right. Yeah.
3 or 3+ hours rather.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
But,
absolutely.
I mean, it's so cool. It's like a lot of these people are just so easy to talk to. So.
Oh yeah, everyone we've interviewed so far has been there. I mean, we haven't had a tough interview yet, So I mean, which is good, man. I mean, everyone, metalheads are laid back, man. They really are.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this right now, just know that we have 2 more interviews coming up the next 2 weeks. So
yes, we do.
So
we're not gonna tell you who they are yet because we don't want to spoil the surprise. We do have our normal episode tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Central Time on Saturday, right here, like we always do. We may name drop next week's guest tomorrow, but we're not gonna let
I'll do it on tomorrow's show. So.
Yeah, we're not gonna let you guys know all of the news. So I mean, we'll feed it to you a little bit at a time. But
we gotta save some for tomorrow. So
yeah, absolutely. So yep. But that's pretty much gonna do it for tonight. So
and hope you guys enjoyed the interview there. And if you have any insight on wanting to check out who Hidden Intent is, you can always, like I said, you can check out their merch. You can go to Spotify, check out their music there as well. So,
oh yeah, they've got 3 really good albums over there on Spotify. Yeah, you guys won't be disappointed, especially our fellow thrash fans like us. So
you're right, yeah. So, yeah, great stuff. But all right, we will see you guys in the morning for our regularly scheduled programming.
Yep, absolutely.
Same bat time, same bat station, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
But we appreciate you stopping in with us on this special Friday night. And like I said, hope to see you guys back tomorrow. And if you want to rewatch this, of course, you can always go to our socials or our YouTube or Twitch and all that good stuff. So we're out there as well. So.
I did see where we already have 1 share from one of our South American fans.
Well, there you go.
we greatly appreciate that.
Yes, we do. So but we appreciate all you guys, and hopefully we'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Yep.
In the meantime, I know it's just tomorrow, but keep those horns held high and jump in that pit anytime you can.
Have a great night, guys. See you tomorrow.